Hello YouTubers! If you're thinking about getting into the comic book collecting hobby for the first time, or maybe you're a previous collector wanting to re-engage again, maybe you're just wondering what all the fuss is about, well, stay right there and I'll share with you the ins and outs that will get you started and on your way. I'll also be sharing some tips and warnings to make your start more enjoyable. All this and more coming right up on Comic Sniper presents Collecting Comic Books for Beginners. Alright, here we go. Comic Sniper back again. This time to the beginning of a very special series that I'm putting together for all of you new to comic book collecting, or maybe you've collected before and are looking to come back again. Either way, I hope to shed some light on the subject for you and hopefully get you on your way. So by the way, this subject will be too big to cover in just one video, so look forward to more in this series. So let's look at what got you here in the first place. Most aspiring comic book collectors catch the bug from either the many wonderful superhero movies that came out, such as The Avengers, Justice League. We also had Wonder Woman and Spider-Man Homecoming that was just released. We also have many good TV shows like Supergirl, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Flash. And also relatively new, the streaming media such as Netflix with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and the very popular The Punisher. There's also still the cartoons, the TV cartoons and animes for all ages. And you also might be wondering about what all this Comic-Cons are all about, with all the masses of crowds and strange looking people walking around, some of them even wearing costumes. What you probably didn't do like us old timers is just pick up comic books at random at any supermarket or drugstore, on those racks, those spinner racks that was everywhere really back then. Today, that's just not the case anymore. Today, kids are just not randomly exposed to comic books anymore. You actually need to be looking to buy a comic book to actually buy a comic book. So however you got here, let's assume you decided to start collecting since you're here, right? Right. And since you're here, here is the best place to start. What I mean by here is on YouTube. The great and growing comic book community on YouTube. You'll find videos for beginners and veterans alike. You'll also find lots of how-tos, insights into the hobby, and people sharing how they collect and what they collect and everything in their collection. Tip number 1. Just because you see people showing off their expensive, high-grade encapsulated comics, that you need to do the same. Basically, there is no right way or wrong way to comic book collecting. Collect what you like, and whatever makes you happy is the right way. If you like reading stories, looking at art, maybe a favorite artist, old or new, superhero genres, whatever. Pick one or several, have at her. Just get started. After watching some videos, what's next? Well, watch more. Okay, alright, just kidding. Pick a direction to start. What I mean is, whatever got you here, movies, TVs, cartoons, etc., seek out the character you like the best. Let's keep this simple, okay? Let's say you like Spider-Man. Most people do. And his last movie, Homecoming, that just came out and it was a huge hit. So Spider-Man titles, right? So where do we look? Well, the most logical place to start is the old comic book store. But before you run out to your nearest LCS, that's local comic book store for short, it may be worthwhile mentioning all the places you can actually buy comic books. First, there's the LCS, as I said. You can also get them at flea markets, garage sales. You can buy comics at Comic-Cons, large and small, local auctions, online comic book retailers, online auctions. You have also eBay, Craigslist, Instagram, chat forums, and of course you have here YouTube. Now don't be intimidated by all of those. We will dive into those in the future videos. Okay, the actual best place to start is your friends and family. If you know somebody that's already into collecting comics, you should ask them for their help first. They can be somebody to trust and lead you so it's not so intimidating. They will also like it since you will be another person they can talk to about comics, go comic hunting with, and just generally be impressed by all their knowledge on the subject. This should be the first warning though. Comic nerds will talk your ear off. They can't help themselves. So let's say you're at your LCS staring at a daunting wall of new books as well as a sea of lined up back issues of comics. Now what? Well, best thing is to approach that guy sitting behind the counter and ask a few questions, because 99% of the time he's not busy. Tell him you're just starting out and you'd like to see some titles on Spider-Man. This is where he'll leap into action, because there's not going to be many times he'll be able to use his abilities to help anybody. This is where you need to decide whether you're going to be interested in reading books, or just looking at all the cool art, or even collecting just for the cover only. You can do one, or maybe a combination of any one of these things, and if you decide, you can change it later on as you go. Okay? So here's our warning number 2. If you're wanting to collect just to make money, your best bet is to do a lot of research before plopping down your hard-earned dough. Because you can quickly go down that wrong path and end up wasting a lot of money if you really don't know what you're doing. Alright? Getting back to the comic book guy. He should be showing you some new titles by now and also giving you some information on them. Okay? So at this point, let's hit up tip number 2. Stay away from the back issue books and those expensive wall books for now. Okay? You'll need more information before attempting to negotiate prices for these expensive books or back issues. And yes, you should always be expecting to negotiate prices for these books unless you are the fortunate few who have deep pockets. Many of us don't. So back to the new titles of Spider-Man. Well, what I would suggest is go ahead and pick up several different titles so you can sample the storylines and the wonderful art that's inside them. Also, don't worry about the issue number at this point. Don't get discouraged that you're starting to read issue number 375, let's say. Stories start and stop all the time, so you don't have to worry about needing to buy 374 issues just to catch up on the story. Okay? Also, buying new titles, it's not very costly. You're only going to be charged the cover price, so you can end up buying 4 to 5 comic books for about $20. So by now, you should also have the guy's name that's helping you out, and maybe find out if he owns a place. Maybe he owns that comic book store you're in, or maybe he just works there. Most likely, he's going to be your new friend. Alright? So if you have another favorite character, let's say like Superman, Wolverine, or Wonder Woman, you might want to go ahead and pick up some titles of those. 1 or 2 is good. By chance you've watched enough YouTube videos and you want to go ahead and try picking up new comic books that are being recommended on YouTube, maybe you should ask if they have some of those titles. Just be careful in case some of those books that you're interested in got hot and they might have gone up in price. So that's it. It's as simple as that. You'll be walking out with several comic books in your hand and a big smile on your face. You'll be eager to see what wonders await you in those pages and dive right into the great hobby of ours of comic book collecting. Tune back in as I follow up. We'll cover what to look for in those golden pages, how to be updated regularly in the form of a pull list. We'll talk about handling, carrying, and storing those newfound treasures of yours. We'll also be covering important keys like first appearances, origins, deaths, and all the things that make comic book collecting great. We'll also cover social media and how important they are to be for comic book collecting, and then later we'll also cover the values of comic book buying, selling, comic book grading, slabbing, and much more. So I hope to see you back. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you click on the little bell, you won't miss any of the follow-up videos. Also, please leave a comment and tell me what you think. I'd especially like to hear from all you new collectors. Tell me if this series helped you out, and I encourage you to ask any questions you may have. Alright? So I'll do my best to definitely answer them for you. Until next time, thank you for stopping by, and again, enjoy the hunt.